Hello, my name is Pavel and welcome back to my channel. A couple of weeks ago I made a video where I read awful reviews of my favorite movies and I got extremely angry and upset, and it was just a very emotional video, let's say. I was not happy, and on that video I got a comment that was basically like, why don't you just relax and read some good reviews of movies that you rated quite badly and maybe it'll change your opinion on those movies. And I kind of thought that was a great idea, but I also need to say that I know I'm gonna get like annoyed. There's no way I'm gonna be able to like remain calm reading good reviews of movies that I hated. Like, I'm gonna be reading a review that's a 5-star review for Human Centipede 2, and I meant to agree with this or maybe like slightly change my mind. I don't really know how this is gonna go, but I okay, let's just get right into it. Here are the movies that I have rated very, very low. And let's start off with The Coffee Table. The Coffee Table is a movie that everybody was talking about. They were like, it's the most disturbing, disgusting, blah, blah, blah movie of all time. And I was like, why have I never heard of this? And it centers around a coffee table, and everybody was like, hey, don't know nothing about this movie. Just go into it, go into a blind. And I went into this movie blind, and it was extremely disappointing because when the horror happens, I was like, ooh, that's a really good premise, and then nothing else happens for the rest of the movie, right? So let's go into the reviews, right? Let's go into the reviews and read some 5-star, I don't remember how to even do this. Let's read some 5-star reviews for The Coffee Table. I don't think I'm going to be convinced, honestly, but let's just try. 5 stars. Oh God, I should have expected this. This movie's foreign, so all the comments are like in Spanish or whatever. He just wanted to have an aesthetic table and talk about it with his friends. Okay, well, that doesn't really convince me that this movie was good, but sure, let's keep reading. No, okay, let's go. The build-up was like a post-rock song, amazing movie. That's still the build-up, I will tell you, was great because you knew something weird was going to happen with this table, right? But it's the fact that nothing else happens with the table or everything else that happens in the movie. Sure, I can't remember the last time I shrieked no at a movie this much. This was dark AF. It was dark, but again, nothing happens. This does make him, because a movie has a bit of shock factor, doesn't mean it's a good movie. That's what I'm kind of trying to say. Same with The Human Centipede and Megan is Missing. It's disturbing, but a lot of movies can be disturbing, but also entertaining and actually have some depth to it, whereas this did not. Anyway, I feel like in these videos, I just ramble too much and don't actually get through reviews. What is happening with my hair? Stop. Okay, next. This is near a flawless movie. This organic, monotone lighting, the creative writing, setting was magnificent, pace. Listen, I think we watched the wrong movies because I don't think anything about this was creative, because I know there's a lot of like grief and regret and panic and kind of like, you know, whenever you watch a movie like Shiva Baby or even like an episode of The Bear and you really feel the tension, you feel the anxiety, everybody's stressing. That's what this movie was trying to do, but I feel like it just didn't hit the nail on the head at all. Go ahead and mess up my head for a week. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those movies that if you've never watched anything dark or disturbing, that it would make you feel like that. But if you watched anything, like any horror movie, you would recognize that this is just... and I don't think it really twists your guts. And okay, one more. Okay, this comment says, you knew that was coming from the first 30 seconds and then it happens like that in the first 5 minutes and you just stew in the awfulness for another hour and a half. What a journey. Listen, everything you said in the comment, you know, if I read this comment and didn't actually watch the movie, I'd be like, yeah, maybe I do agree with you and maybe I'm out of focus. Why am I out of focus? Focus. So like, I kind of agree with you. You do stew in the madness, but it's like the acting is really weak. And there's just so many like coincidences that happen in this movie that are just so unrealistic, and the scenarios that wouldn't really happen. It's just, I don't know. It really took me out of it. I don't really agree with any of these. I think the movie sucked. If you want to read my review, it's here. If you want to read it, I just whatever. Okay, now Megan is Missing. I made an entire video about this movie and I would be surprised if anybody gave this movie 5 stars because this movie was horrific. I'm not going to tell you everything I said in my review. Basically, it's just like the last 20 minutes of this movie is just like awful, like shaky cam, like first person recording, and oh my god, it was horrific. Okay, no, I need English comments, come on. Listen. This is some effed up, okay. It is a messed up movie. Don't get me wrong. The concept is definitely messed up, but everything from the acting, from like the editing, from like everything, the pace, everything is just awful. The message of this movie is terrifying. The concept of this movie is terrifying, but nothing else. This feels like it would work better as a story you were going to tell somebody rather than put it on film, or maybe just give it to a better director, I guess. I was genuinely traumatized. The last 20 minutes of this movie is the definition of gut-wrenching. It is disturbing. It is very realistic-ishy looking, I guess. But the fact, I feel like it just does not translate good in a movie like this, especially when like the first hour or whatever, nothing really happens and everything is horrible. So you're watching the last 20 minutes with your head in your hands and you're like, this sucks so much, because you're just like, I'm over this. And if a movie, it kind of like sucks for the first hour, you're just going to be lost for the last 30 minutes or 20 minutes. And that's exactly how I felt. It was just, I don't know. I truly don't understand the hate for this movie. I am a chronically online person since I was a child. I'm now 14, going onto online chat rooms, talking to strangers. This movie genuinely scared me, especially at the end. Well directed, amazing actors, and I hate this movie, blah, blah, blah. It traumatized you. You know what? Maybe the fact that I'm 25, it doesn't really impact me as much, because I've also been online since I've been like 13 or 14. And maybe if I was 14 watching this and I wasn't really exposed to a lot of stuff and like I saw this on TikTok, I would be scared, especially if you do talk to strangers, and maybe that obviously makes you quite vulnerable. So that is terrifying. But the thing to make a movie good, it has to be told in a good way. The acting has to be good. But nothing about this movie is actually good aside from the concept. And unfortunately, just a concept for a good movie is not good enough. If I told you this, if I made a TikTok about this and I was like, listen, it's about this girl called Megan and she gets kidnapped and it's terrifying, it has this like realistic feeling, blah, 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 maybe I could sell you on this. Sure. But if you actually sit down and watch the movie, there's no way I believe you that you thought this movie was terrifying. Maybe terrifying because you were like, whoa, what if that happened to me? That is terrifying. I don't agree. I'm sorry. One more for Megan is missing. I can't believe these have 5-star reviews. I was trying to think of a movie that is more horrifying than this. Salo came to mind, but this is even more disturbing to me. Yeah. You can't compare those two movies. They're so different. The history behind these two movies are so different. Everything is different. They are not the same. You can't, like, Megan is Missing is something that you can genuinely make in college if you have just a camera and have some free time and sat down. I don't know, you cannot compare those two movies at all. It's just and the last comment here says that it's very realistic and disturbing. And yes, the kidnapping stuff, it is very realistic. You know, you speak to people online and you meet them, you get kidnapped. Sure, that's definitely realistic. But oh my gosh, if you watch this movie and you look at the new scenes and you look at when Megan actually gets kidnapped, it is just the worst movie making I have ever seen. It is horrible. This is genuinely, let's look at my list. It is my lowest rated movie out of everything. I have no words. This movie is not good. Don't believe the hype. Just because it's on TikTok doesn't mean it's good. I feel like an old man again. I told you I was going to get angry. I told you. Okay, Human Centipede. Gave this movie 1 star. I don't even remember if I made a video on this. I think I did. So I'm not going to recap it too much. But if you know what the Human Centipede is about, it's basically about people doing this, right? So you have body and mouth connected to the back of the body, and it goes like this the entire way, and they move along. And the second movie is so disgusting. It is like the first movie, they kind of like established the concept, and the concept was horrible. But this movie is just, I feel like it was just made to annoy people and make people feel sick, and that's exactly how it made me feel. I felt so watching this movie. It was not no. Okay, how does this movie have 5 stars? Right, I really love the ending. It was beautiful and symbolic themes and ideologies. Okay, that's definitely not being serious, because the ending of this movie is like, I literally finished this movie and I was like this. It is that bad. It is not bad as in like the filmmaking is bad or whatever, blah blah blah. It is just shocking. And there's not many movies that have like really stuck with me, but Human Centipede 2, the ending is just, oh my gosh, it is disgusting. Love the scene in which a pregnant lady gave birth to a child and started moving. Yes, that's the scene I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Okay, I feel like a lot of the 5-star reviews are understanding the fact that there's just no redeeming and accepting that this movie is actually good, because a lot of these are like fairly laid back. Love the scene, love the aesthetic scene where blank happens. I don't even know if I can say it on camera because it's that disgusting. Nice comedy. Of course he has asthma. That's good. I don't agree with the 5 stars, but it's kind of funny that every time he does something really disgusting, he gets like his inhaler and he's like and he proceeds to continue on with his Human Centipede, and it is disgusting and blah. Nope. Even though it's a very hard watch, sometimes I feel like I need to rewatch this. This part is very different than the first, but it's still good. But what makes it good? Maybe, okay, listen, I'm not judging you because movies are subjective, but there's no way you can have a conversation with me and be like, Human Centipede 2, yeah, that's kind of like a 5-star movie. Every other 5-star movie, let's put it in the same category as that. There's no way you can agree that Human Centipede 2 is a 5-star movie. You are crazy. Extremely disturbing from start to finish. Me and my boyfriend were constantly on edge. Absolutely amazing. Okay, I kind of agree with you that if we're going to rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 5 or stars 1 to 5, and we're going to put it in disturbing wise, then this movie is like a 3 or 4. So I do kind of agree with you. If that's what we're rating, if that's all you wanted from this movie was just something disgusting and gory and then yeah, okay, I kind of agree with you. It did have me on the edge of my seat. It did make me feel extremely uncomfortable, and it was really disgusting. So maybe if I'm rating it as a movie, I'm giving it a 1 star, but if I'm rating it for gore, then 4-ish, I suppose. Yeah, you're kind of right. Acting is terrible, but the storyline is iconic. I define iconic, please. I bet. No words. Okay, onto something else. Oh, the Poughkeepsie tapes. Right, I made a video about this like really a few weeks ago. People rave about this movie. They say it's the best thing ever, and this movie lost me in seconds with the awful acting. You know what? I feel like I've talked about this movie a lot. I'm gonna be really quick with these reviews. Okay. The acting is great. So many moments fill you with dread, and the ending is so sad and unbelievable at times. Don't watch alone, in my opinion. Just go watch Lake Mungo. That's all I have to say. This movie, the acting loses you, and it takes you out of the movie, and that's the problem with this movie, that you realize you are watching a movie. Okay, one more. I don't really want to stick with Poughkeepsie tapes too much. The juxtaposition is so good. It fogs the viewer's brain and creates so many questions about the process of the world in filmmaking behind the documentary itself. I could listen, I feel like this is a person who just realized what the word juxtaposition means, because everyone goes through that phase where they're like, oh, that's a cool word, let me use it. And I don't really understand. Nothing really goes on in the brain, because you watch this and for the last hour you're like, well, this is obviously a movie and the acting is really horrible, and it's just no, I'm sorry, I still don't agree with you. Poughkeepsie tapes, absolutely, it's just it sucks. Grown Ups 2. I gave this a 1 star. I feel like everybody just hates on this movie, so maybe it wasn't very fair, but I was like really angry watching this, so like I was just in a really bad mood. So let's see, maybe there's like a 5-star thingy-majig for Grown Ups 2. I love Adam Sandler. Well, I guess if you love Adam Sandler and you watch his movies, you're probably biased, and that's perfectly fine, because I watch a lot of movies with actors that I like, and I'm like, yo, it's obviously a 5-star because my favorite actor is in it. So sure, 5-star. I can't do for Grown Ups 2. The first one was better, I think, but I can't really decide because my mum and dad were dying at it. Oh, okay. I guess if you're watching this with family, that's kind of sweet. You're watching Grown Ups 2 and you're like, mum and dad are like crying, laughing. It's like one of those core memories. And every time you think of Grown Ups 2, you're not going to think of it like negatively. You're just going to be thinking about your family having a really good time. And you know what? That's fair. That's fair enough. Crazy to give it a 5 stars, but sure, I guess if you associate it with nice memories, that's fair enough. One more. Just like the first one, watched it when I was little and loved it, so yeah, well, that's fair enough. I guess if it's a movie you watched as a kid, which is like, is that not like a bit of a weird movie to watch as a child? Like Adam Sandler making fart jokes for like 2 hours? But fair enough, if that's just something you watched as a kid and you just associate it with good memories, then that's fair enough. Fair enough. Whatever. One more movie. Let's go. One more. Okay, what do we have here? Totally Killer. Gosh, this movie was bad. It was some of the worst acting. It looked awful. It literally looked like if you gave AI instructions, or maybe if corporate was like deciding all the decisions, if all the big money men were deciding everything about a movie, and they played it extremely safe with horrible acting. Even though the cast of this movie was like kind of fine, right? The casting was the best thing about this movie, but oh my gosh, everything about this movie, it wasn't even good, bad, good, or whatever. It was just painful, sincerely painful to watch. Let's go 5 stars ratings for this movie. I don't even know why I watched this movie. Sure, this is an underrated gem. I'm a huge slasher fan. The slasher movie, blah, blah, blah. Who's the killer? I'm going to lick my fingers every time because, yes, like I love horror mystery so much. Blah, 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 blah. Listen, just because you like the genre, you should be a little bit critical and be like, well, there are things about this that just genuinely suck. And 5 stars is crazy. This is one of the worst slasher mystery whodunit movies ever, because it was painful to watch, because it was so predictable and it was horrific. This one is for the Scream fans. Let's go. You are trashing Scream. That is offensive to Scream. Absolutely love the comedy mixed with horror. Has just the right mix of a campy, blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't. It sucks. I understand watching a movie because it's bad and like having a fun campy time with it, like a self-aware type of movie, but this movie is not that. Maybe it just went over my head, but Oh, I guess if I watch this with some people, then I can half agree with you that maybe it's like fun, but I watched this alone and I remember being angry like an hour in. I'm seeing a theme. I just get angry at movies. Is that not like awful? Okay, let's go. This is my new Scream. I like the time travel part 2. This is offensive to Scream. Leave Scream out of this. Oh my gosh, you cannot put them in the same category. Fun to watch and messes with your brain. Sure, it's kind of fun maybe if you watch it with other people, but nothing in here messes with your brain. Oh my gosh, I feel like there's whatever. Love. I hadn't seen a horror movie like this in so long, and I need more movies like this. I don't. I'm fed up with these movies, but maybe my 1-star rating was a little bit harsh, but it was just everything about it just annoyed me so much. And I feel like I'm just going to wrap it up there because the goal here was to kind of change my opinions of movies I kind of hated. And you know, for some of them, like I guess for grown-ups, I kind of agree. Like, you know, if you associate these movies with good memories, that's fine. You're allowed to enjoy them and give them high ratings. And sometimes letterboxd reviews, most of the time, like I give 5 stars to movies that are just like ironically bad, and you're giving these reviews ironically. And you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You can give any review to any movie you want. Who really cares at the end of the day? But did many of my opinions change? No, but did a few of them? Sure. And I always have fun trying to talk about movies and not doing great. But that's everything I have to say. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.